Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's Lair. I'm your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and we're back to take a look at an indie game today, taking a look at Smiley's Children while it is in the early development stages, providing some feedback to the developer, Iron Edge Studios, and having a look. It is a horror game, and, well, a game like Smiley's sort of makes you think about things like Five Nights at Freddy's, or evil murder clowns, or... I mean, this guy kind of looks like a bit of a gigolo, dressed up like a police officer with a tie-dye swimsuit on. But anywho, we're gonna jump in here and take a look while it is in the early alpha stages and talk about horror games and horror game designs and such. So let's just click the play button here.
What time is it? Wait. Where was Alice?
Alright, so we wake up here in our bedroom with a very floral patterned bed, so that kind of to me implies we're married. Also, we have like 15 pillows, and we're looking for Ellis. And this just has some information for us to prevent lag. And that is the only information that we are given in this game as we hop up into our house and take a look. And I will just point out this game is in early alpha stages. This is an early concept prototype for the game. So we could go down here. We got a nice living room with a very comfortable looking Lego couch. But we actually want to go in here, and there is what I think is an answering machine on the end table.
The monster. It took him, David. It's here. Keep
Uh-oh.
quiet.
The monster's here.
Hi, it's just me, Alice, just checking to see if you're home yet.
Alright, well, Ellis is freaking out. It would seem that somebody is here and they are coming to steal... I mean, when it comes to a killer clown, I would assume children. But the killer clowns from outer space were all about pretty much everybody, so long as they were marinated for a certain amount of time. Now, we can go outside, but this door is unfortunately locked. Good thing for us, Timmy has a key.
Poor David. He was only 5 when cancer had killed him.
Alright, so this is David's room. Got the Celebrate from the Five Nights at Freddy's poster, and, you know, I didn't really get into Five Nights at Freddy's, but I think that was like a pizza place, like just a weird demonic animatronic pizza parlor. There's a note with a circle and an X, and here we go. We need that key in order to get outside. And of course, that's where we'll meet our newest friend. Alright, come here, you. Alright, we're gonna start hoofing it. Alrighty, well that was a little bit more sudden than I had anticipated, but our pal, Mr. Smiley, once we got outside, he actually spawned, like, right on top of me, and even though I was trying to hoof it away from him, so I could get a moment to speak, he didn't quite give me a moment. So I guess, while we get back there, I might as well just start talking about breaking this down for a horror game. And I think the first thing that comes to mind is we've got some pretty good voice acting going. I know that the credits list quite a few people who helped with audio and with visuals and with coding and stuff. But the one thing I can say that sells a game really well is people that take some time with good voice acting, and that's going to sell the story pretty well. Now, the one thing I think needs to happen first is, like, you need to work on, like, a lighting situation, because it's very hard, especially going further into the game, to figure out where you need to go, simply because it's hard to see. And also, when I first played this game, I didn't even realize that there was that voice message upstairs, because the first thing that I saw was the stairs leading down into David's room.
Only 5 when cancer had killed him.
Alright, let's see if we can avoid Mr. Grins and Smiles out here. Come on, come on. Let me go forward. Okay, there he is. Hi, Mr. Smiley. You're looking very festive today. That's right. You know, it's always really obvious when somebody, especially a crazy murder clown, is really into cardio. Because this man can keep up with the Olympic sprinter. Like Usain Bolt, you better watch yourself. Smiley's got you on his list. So, the next part of the game is you end up outside looking presumably for Ellen and David, and you're inside of a massive forest, and in the center is your house, and on the edge of it is some mountains, and you've also got a gate. So, the house is, I mean, I'm not expecting, like, you know, Bruce Wayne's mansion, especially in, like, a small suburban family-style home setting, you know, like a nuclear family, wife, kids, all that stuff. But, you know, the thing that kind of gets me initially is simply the pacing inside of the house, and also a lack of seeming direction, which can be fixed a lot by lighting inside of the game. But eventually, I did figure out, after getting touched by Smiley and my ears bleeding from the random jiggling teddy bear, I did find my way over here to this gate, and unfortunately, this gate, and there is a truck back there, it is very much locked, and it's a little tricky, because, like, Smiley is all up on Larry's behind, his booty is constantly being grabbed at, and I'm just feeling a little emasculated by a man in a clown suit, so it's a little tricky trying to suss out where you need to go, but if you saw on David's bed earlier, there is a key, and this is a game where, much like a lot of different horror game concepts do to begin with, is they're very goal-oriented for keys equals unlocking a door, which is how they spread out progression. Now that, in a nutshell, isn't terrible, but what you really need to set a horror game apart is how you handle the story and the tone of everything that's going on here. So for that, you're gonna have to, like, suss out, like, what's going on here with our friend David? I need Smiley to get away from the gate real fast before I can go open it. You gotta suss out what's going on here. So we've got a kid named David, and he supposedly died of cancer. So that's the first little key. And it sounds like we're married to a lady named Ellen, who is, like, looking for him. So it doesn't sound like he's actually dead at all, but rather he was taken by Mr. Grins and Smiles here. So let's go through the gate.
Hey, Blair, look over here.
And hearing some guy randomly say, come over here. These wheels are very interesting. It's an interesting way to do wheels. I haven't seen that since I Am Robot. But, so we've got to kind of suss out a story of what's going on with David. What's going on with Ellen? Did a monster really take them? Is he really going to eat their flesh? Maybe not. But it could be a situation of our main character here, I'll just call him Rob, is actually crazy, and he's trying to deal with a painful loss in his life, so he's created this monster named Smiley, perhaps a demon from his own childhood, and it's the antagonist who he's fighting with in his own mind to try and escape. So, I'd say for the monster, you should kind of just slowly introduce him and make him kind of creep at you at the periphery, so if you go too far off the beaten path into the darkness, you'll hear, like, children's ice cream truck music, and then there's Mr. Smiley gonna get you. He's gonna touch you, and then the death screen will have, like, his face, like, coming up and eating you or something. Kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's style. I'm not, like, the teddy bear thing doesn't really work for me, and you gotta really be careful with how you handle the audio in a game like this, because the loud tapping and stuff, I understand it's a prototype, but you don't want to overwhelm your audience with too loud noises, and then it's really hard to hear the voiceovers, which are really good. I liked those. Now, they're a little confusing, because they feel a little bit disjointed. Again, I don't think that the story is 100% set in stone yet, and for some reason, I can't get this key. Hi, Mr. Key. Do you want to be friends? I can't walk any faster, Mr. Key. There is literally a crazy clown man trying to touch me. And he is actually getting very close. Okay, Mr. Smiley, we're gonna go back through the forest, because apparently I can't get that key. But you need to kind of work on some pacing. Work on finding some different goals that have something to do with the story and something to do with David. But I think if you get some of these set pieces together with a little bit better lighting, you can very easily lure people through your game with little lighting hints. And I'm actually going to let Mr. Smiles here kill me after, I think this is a phone box, and I guess Mr. Smiley is going to make sure that the fence is secure. There were some kids playing by the fence last week that he wasn't interested in murdering, and he thinks that they might have damaged it, so he's got to go do a thing. All right. Bye, Mr. Smiley. It was fun. I think this is a phone box? I guess I'm going to go hang out with Doctor Who. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess I know who this copy of the phone box was made for. That's my little icon. Well, that's nice. Thanks, guys, for including me in here. Alright, let's go find Mr. Smiley. I don't want him to get lonely. Okay, now that we're back in here, let's just start going through what's going on with this prototype, and I'll give my feedback for what I think you really want to look at when designing a horror game.
What time is it? Wait. Where is Alice?
Okay, so we wake up, and something has happened. We don't know where, presumably our wife or maybe our girlfriend, Ellis, is, and we notice that there's a broken door here on the floor. So what I think is, what you really want is, you could definitely, especially with a scene starting out with a bed, the easiest thing that you can do is you can sort of do like a very phantom, like illustrated, sort of dragged cutscene, where you drag little set pieces around in a very fragmented, sort of phantom dream sequence, and then something's happening. Some child is being taken, and there's a demonic clown, and it's implying that he's been hiding at the edge of your life for a while, just targeting your child, David. And then you wake up to a clattering sound and a crash and furniture and set pieces in the game flying off of the walls, and you roll over and black out, and you wake up, and you're like, oh my god, there's blood on the floor. What's going on? Where did Ellis go? And this is very basic prototype. I'm guessing this is really, for right now, just a set piece prototype to kind of get the message across. But if you look at some architectural plans to sort of suss out what kind of house you want these people to live in with. I mean, the windows are okay if you like giant... Well, I think these are like, what, stained glass church-style windows? But the next thing that I kind of ran into when I first booted this game up was I immediately saw these stairs, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go down these stairs, and maybe I'll come back up here later. And then I saw the bedroom, and then I saw, like, the door, and then I didn't even see, for my first few playthroughs, until I was trying to hunt for keys, that there is actually this voice recorder over here. And the best way that you have to imply that there's a voice recorder over here is maybe have, like, a flickering light, and you could definitely have it be like a wireless telephone, and then, like, there's a beep, and you walk up and you press E, and then it lets you interact with the voice recorder.
The monster. It took him, David. It's here. Keep quiet. Hi, it's just me, Alice, just checking to see if you're home yet.
Okay, that's pretty good. So, I think what this would be good for is, like, you start out at the end of the hall, and instead of being, like, downstairs and coming upstairs, like, maybe the master bedroom is on the top floor, and then you walk down the hallway, and then on the left, here is David's room, and it's been ransacked. But you're like, wait a minute, like, didn't he die of, like, cancer at the hospital? But what's going on here? Who would want to hurt David? And where is Ellis? And and then you get freaked out, and then you'll wander around the house for a little bit, and, like, in the kitchen before you go, like, down to the playroom, that's when you notice that there's a creepy message. And then you're, like, led into, you know, whatever little playroom, and then you discover even more horror, and, like, a bloody device. And, like, that bloody device is the key to outside. So let me grab that key. Got some Harry Potter here. Was this Harry Potter reference? The fact that in the first movie, Harry Potter, like, lived underneath the stairs at that one douchey parent's house? Like, if so, like, good on you. If not, like, you could totally use that. Obviously, I think this would be like a living room, and like this would be like the playroom where David hangs out, and this would be like a big screen TV. But that would like slow the gameplay down a bit and give it some better pacing. Now,
where are you?
frickin' Mr. Smiley, don't you try to wing me again, you bastard. So the other thing moving on here is you gotta slowly introduce the monster. You can't just throw demon monster at me. That's not... Monsters that are especially psychological monsters, they tend to... They hunt. They're predatorial beasts. They don't want to just kill their food. They're like the T-Rex inside of Jurassic Park. T-Rex doesn't want to kill. T-Rex wants to hunt, and so does Mr. Smiley. Like, look at him. Look at this guy. He is a dedicated serial killer. This man wants to hunt me down, and he wants to savor the kill as he, like, rips out my viscera and, like, plays with my organs and probably uses them to create, like, a playground for him and his demonic cultish followers. And that's, you know, that's his right. He is a creepy serial killer. He has put in the time. He has done the cardio. And he is ready to get down to business. So you'd probably want to have him start the moment you kind of realize something's happened in the house. You want to have, like, weird pieces of furniture move and, like, creaking and shifting, and maybe a cat, like, yowls and runs across the house and then disappears. Stuff like that to kind of imply, and then at a really dramatic clutch moment, he just runs out of the shadows and, like, takes a chunk out of your chest and makes you bleed everywhere. So somebody just says over here or something when you spawn in here, and I'm not... I think this is where the prototype we kind of started running into where we're trying to write the story. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on here, but we gotta go to a police box. And, you know, honestly, if you started going into like a dream sequence, or like just a sequence of things that might appear in a dream, Doctor Who, or like a sort of avoiding copyright ripoff of Doctor Who, as something like this guy is in his periphery, like maybe he's at a mental institution, he's trying to like cope with what's going on, maybe he watches Doctor Who. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of this horrifying Silent Hill-esque story, like he goes on a time adventure, but then the doctor gets murdered by Mr. Grins and Smiles here. And where is Mr. Grins and Smiles? Are you lost, sir? But anyway, like, more clues as to where I should be going, like, drawing me along cleverly would be great. And that would... Oh, there's Mr. Smiles. Okay, I didn't want you to get lost, buddy. You don't have a GPS, you're a serial killer. They don't have those. Maybe if I slow down for a half a sec. Nope. I guess I can't get that key. I don't know that there's an activate button either. Nope. There is a jump, though. It doesn't go, like, but like a centimeter in the air. So if you're not gonna do jumping, maybe just have it so it's just disabled. But I think with a monster that's kind of like a clown Slender Man, you could do something with that. You just gotta be more subtle with it. You gotta be more creepy at the edge of your vision. And a lot of people have done that. It's just gonna be a matter of trial and error and pacing. A lot of pacing and a lot of good work with those voice actors. I think you'll be pretty good. Yeah, you see, he's still worried that there's something fucked up with the fence. I told you, man, those kids were not... They're playing Pokemon Go. You don't gotta worry, buddy. So yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to tell what to say about a game this early in development, but I think you guys have the basic foundation you need to start adding on to that and expanding it, but don't rush any of this. Like, you gotta have the right number of set pieces, you gotta have the right pacing, the right environment, the right mood and atmosphere and lighting, so just take it one step at a time and maybe brick it out into segments so that you can get everything nice and polished and then move on to the next component, kind of like they did with Amnesia or A Game for Pigs. So that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a look at the early development for Smiley's Children by Iron Edge Studios. It's got a lot of talented people, good voice acting going here. And I think if you get all those other pieces together and kind of work on, like, I'd wait. Don't worry about a beta right now. Like, just start adding the bits and bops to it. And then people will slowly start to follow along as the game starts to look interesting and delicious. Although the one thing I can activate in this game is actually my flashlight. So that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys and gals next time. Toodles, everybody. Alright, Mr. Smiley, give me that demonic hug I so crave.